devil are you?
I'm damn fine.
Are you well?
Very well, sir.
Good,
Very
good.
well.
Good to have your company here today, gentlemen.
Quite.
I've got to ask you a little bit of a sensitive question. You might or might not want to reveal this, but have you ever before been to see a psychic?
I saw the Tour de France once. Oh, no, there's a cyclist, there's Sorry. No. Sadly not.
No, not? Never done that?
No, it's not something for me.
Okay.
I don't want to know.
What about you,
Well,
Ross?
we had actually had a couple of guys on the show last year, and one of them was incredibly incisive. I thought he was very, very clever. And I'm a big cynic, but in South Africa I once went to see a tarot card reader who told me sort of almost the title of the book I was writing at the time. She was very good. I'm a cynic, but there are people there. There are people there.
There are. If you believe, ladies and gentlemen, you believe. And I think a lot of people who are in the psychic world say it's your problem if you don't believe, but they certainly have a lot of strong sort of feelings towards what other people's lives or what's happening in other people's lives. But what's it like being married to one? Let's find out as we welcome from London, Steve Banks. Steve, how you doing? Welcome on the programme.
Hello, Brian. It's me, mate.
Yeah, big fan.
Steve, good to your company, so married to a psychic lady.
Yes, I am,
The love
yes.
of your life.
Absolutely.
So, what's it like?
Good and bad, really, because on the good side, she's done a lot of stuff for me. Really, really good, which I'll tell you about later. On the downside is she knows exactly what I've been up to, so I can't get away with anything. Absolutely nothing.
I had 2 pints, you had 15.
She says, where have I been? I lie about it. She knows exactly where I've been.
Oh, wow. So sometimes you can get caught out.
Yeah, very much so,
Well, we're
yeah.
going to find out lots more. She's a wonderful lady. But first, let's have a look whether you're a good shopper or not then, Steve.
Let's have a look.
See what you brought along for Brian here. Yeah, tell us about this
Good
little lot.
Lord.
OK, I got some liver.
Calf's liver,
Calf's
innit?
liver, yeah. I love an awful lot of waffle.
Yeah.
Some red cabbage, particularly red cabbage, because it goes beautifully with apple. And shallots. Now, I love shallots, but they hate me for some reason. I don't know why. And I thought I'm going to get better of these ones.
OK, they repeat on you a little bit. Perhaps just the way you cook them down. Sometimes they're a bit raw or something. A potato, how much did you spend?
£4.97, potentially some.
Yeah, 3p within it. Yeah, that's fantastic. What do you think, chef? Bit of a classic kind of dish right before
A
your
lot
eyes
of people,
there.
as you say, think that's awful, but it's pronounced awful. Delicious stuff. But convincing that lot's another matter, because it really is beautiful stuff.
OK, well, you certainly will do your most to convince them. And here's a lady who probably knew what was in the bag before her husband tipped it out. Please welcome your lovely partner, Kim Banks. Hello, Kim. How are you, my love? Lovely to see you. Come and meet Ross.
Hi, how are you
Hi.
doing? Pleased to meet you. Loving this.
Thank you.
Very lovely amber.
Psychic medium. So what's that all about, then? Is it for those people out there who are a little bit sort of, you know...
Just more of a small than a medium.
Is it really? Oh, get out of here. You tell us.
Psychic medium. Well, I know what you're thinking, Ainsley. And you're probably thinking, what's she got in that bag? Am I right?
You're really good. Tip it out. Let's go on.
A little bit. I was thinking what lovely eyes you got. I thought you made a good choice there, mate. There you go. Tip out your bag. Let's have a little bit of a look. OK, right. Now, tell us what you brought along here, then, Kim.
I've got haddock, which is lovely.
Do you want an aspirin for that?
For the haddock.
Yeah. He's just trying to be quick, love. There you go.
OK.
OK. So it's a bit of an undyed haddock,
Yes, undyed haddock.
Yeah.
Avocado, because I love that. I eat that every day.
Yeah.
And mango, because it's gorgeous. It's gooey and you get in a mess and it drips all over the place. I love it.
That is. Mango every day in your house, is it, mate? There we are. Hazelnuts and the onion. How much
Yep.
did you spend?
It's lovely.
£5 and 1p.
Oh, we don't mind. Your husband was under anyway. But what about that bag then, Ross?
We can go 1,000 ways with this. It's fantastic.
Yeah?
Absolutely fantastic.
We'll have a little bit of a chat with Kim and find out which way you're going to go. OK. Back over to you, Steve. Let's find out what Brian's going to cook for you.
Well, as I say, I think liver is tricky, but that looks a lovely piece of liver. So I'm going to take a little slice off and just quickly pan fry it in a griddle. I'm going to make some liver wrapped in bacon in little skewers, cocktail dips. And I'm going to make a little chopped liver and bacon, like little rissoles. We'll do some sour cabbage soup and some braised red cabbage. We'll do a caramelised apple as a bit of a dessert, perhaps with the butterscotch sauce, we've got time. And your famous shallots, we'll get you to peel them, we'll slice them thinly, and we make some pomme lyonnaise that's just soaked potatoes, and very classic, but potatoes and onion together, a little hint of stock, you'll love it.
smells delightful.
What do you think? Happy with that?
superb, yeah.
It's tough if you don't like it, mate, 'cause that's what
Okay.
you're
Oh, your hubby's thinking, that sounds grand.
Great takeaway there.
Yeah. What about
absolutely.
Kim? What are you going to give her?
We're going to be again very classic. We're going to do 3 things. We're going to make fish pie. I'm feeling like we need some bit of sort of soul food, so we're going to have some fish pie. We're also going to do Creole blackened haddock with a tropical salsa, and then perhaps I'm thinking my lady here might like a little bit of hazelnut soufflé.
Ooh, does that sound good? Hazelnut soufflé, yeah. What about the mango? How will that feature?
That's going to feature as a lime and mango salad to go with the
Very
soufflé.
nice indeed. Right up your street. OK, ladies and gentlemen, they're delighted. How will they feel in 20 minutes? You'll just have to wait and see. And first, I have to say, ready, steady, cook. OK, up and away. Right, chopped liver. Bit of old chopped liver rissoles. We haven't had rissoles on the programme in a long time. Well, Brian's certainly going to be doing that with his calf's liver. A nice slice of liver, keeping it nice and plain with a bit of bacon. And the other bit's going to go on skewers, kind of a little skewer going through there. That's all going to be char grilled. We've got some braised cabbage, we've got some caramelised apple, we've got some pomme lyonnaise, classic French term, onion and potato sauté, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, what about over here, Ross? Well, he's got a delicious piece of haddock there, and one's going to be blackened and the other piece is going to be put into a fish pie. Simple fish pie. We've got avocado.
We're quite sort of solidly into 2006 now, but blackened fish is a really, really good diet thing.
I'm looking forward to seeing what goes into it, Ross.
Without feeling like you're
there you
being
go.
too sort of healthy, you know?
Well, beautiful. Well, let's start over here. Brian's chef is already carving up his liver. So tell us that.
It's a little bit smaller than I'd hoped, actually. I couldn't really see it through. So I've just cut it slightly down there, and so I've now got a nice piece. I'm not sure if I'm going to have as much as I thought I had when I looked at it.
Why is it so expensive, Brian? It's more expensive than fillet steak.
Well, yeah, it is, and the reason is, of course, because it comes from a baby cow, a calf, 6 months of age, and it's milk-fed, and there's only that much in each whole animal. So
sure.
And of course, we have a prejudice against veal and liver in this country because we think it's cruel, and sometimes it's not bred as it should be, but it's getting better.
Sure.
The way I believe we can answer that problem is if we buy more veal in this country, we could produce more veal in this country, we could control the production, and we'd be a lot better off.
OK, fair enough. Yeah, good point by our chef, Brian Turner there. Right now, it's kind of one of those things that a lot of people find a little bit strong. Do you recommend soaking it in milk? A lot of people say soak it in milk overnight to kind of extract some of that
What they used to say, with all due respect, Ainsley, I'm not being rude to you, is they used to say that about ox liver, about lamb's liver. Lamb's liver is fantastic if it's fresh, but it's buying it fresh. But they didn't used to say it about calf's liver. Calf's liver is milk-fed.
Right.
Consequently, you don't need to worry about that at all. I have to tell you, it's one of my favourite foods. But it is, you've got to buy it right, and I understand that lots of people look and think, oh, yuck, I can't eat that.
I know,
so
totally.
Sad.
OK, so we've got a bit of red cabbage here, Chef, that we're just sort of chopping up. You're talking about braising it. Is that kind of the typical sort of brown sugar, red wine and stuff like that?
So we put butter in one over here, and I put oil in the other. One's for soup and one's for braising. Right, just cut a quarter of that off and stick it in there, if you would, please.
Classic braising thing. Shall I just put them here for you, Chef?
Yeah.
A bit of red wine vinegar if you like it, and a bit of sugar.
The truth, of course, is we're going to do it in the classical way, but normally it'd take 2 or 3 hours to do it properly.
Yeah.
But we're actually butter into there, please, OK? So this one with the butter is for the braising, and one with the olive oil is for the soup. We make a sour soup, so we put some wine in there, put some vinegar in, put a bit of vinegar in. So red wine vinegar goes in here. Let's put a bit of sugar in as well. And we are rushing it. Normally you'd sweat it down a bit, but you don't get that time on this show. We want to kick it as fast as we can. So I can close it. Well done.
Yeah.
Just put a couple of cloves in there. Now I can add to it as I go on, but I've now got it on the way, and we'll do the same with this one here. We just want to get it nice and...
that's going to be cooked in butter.
Lovely. No, this is going to be cooked in oil because it's for the soup. OK. That's been butter for the actual...
Great. Thanks very much, Chef. OK, we'll come back and see Chef Brian Turner in a moment. Let's get over here. We're in the red tomato kitchen.
But I'm doing something really interesting called chopping an onion.
I know.
I'd just like to add to...
Do you remember the old days when we used to get a round of applause for chopping an onion? Do you remember that?
Just about. I'm loving your work. No, I was just going to say, I agree with everything Brian said there. And I think the other thing about veal is that I'm not a great veal eater, but the one way that you know it's going to be happy veal is to buy British.
Yeah, OK.
And I think that's true about almost anything. So.
OK, Chef. Very good
Without
indeed.
being too political,
what about New Zealand lamb, then? Because you're from New Zealand.
Yeah, what about it?
Yeah, what about...
We've got very good British lamb.
Don't put me somewhere I don't want to go.
Oh, right then.
Unfortunately, it takes about 6 months wants to get here at 0 degrees. I'd buy Welsh or British. And buy British.
Well done, that man.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm just making a bechamel in there. I just need
All
to
right,
bang this in there.
and so get the milk in there. I just took it off because it was just beginning to change it. And notice what we've got here, ladies and gentlemen, is a roux. Tell us a little bit about the quantities here, Chef.
Same weight of each, basically, which means that because fat is twice as heavy as carbohydrate, it's 2 to 1, or basically it's the same weight.
All right, and cook it out. There's various stages, though, isn't there?
Yeah, there are various stages. I want to make this quite thick because it's going to make our fish pie, but also it's going to make our souffle. So I want to make it quite thick for the souffle.
Okay.
Take some out, and then I'll make it thinner to go with the fish pie.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. There you go.
If you're ever worried, because it's making a souffle, if you're ever worried about things being not quite as you want, it's always quite good to use a whisk.
Yes, I always thought that a bay leaf or an onion cloute and something like that inside.
But I'm making sweet as well. So this is sweet and a savoury. That's why. So I'm split it. No, that's well done. No, absolutely. But I'm making two together. I'm trying to sort of save time. So
lovely. What about you? Do you like to sort of cook like this at home? Then, Kim, are you getting on? You're busy. Lots of lovely rings going on. Or do you just like keeping it nice and calm?
Oh no, I like to do lots of cooking.
I'm suspecting the best thing she makes is reservations.
He's winding you up, love. Tell him to get stuff.
Yeah.
Don't worry about him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, is this psychic thing, does it run in the family then? Is it something that you've grown up with and you kind of found yourself connected with it from a very young age?
Yeah, I was psychic when I was a child. And my son seems to be...
He's inherited that, has he?
He seems to be very aware of the needs of others.
And how do you know that you become or you know that you're a psychic? Is it, do you see things happening and you thought, I knew that was going to happen?
I do, yeah. When I was a little girl, strange things used to happen to me. And I sort of grew up with all that, you know, and when I got older, I learnt to understand it.
And feel comfortable with it, too.
Feel comfortable with it, yeah.
Did it ever freak you out a little bit, thinking, I knew that was going to happen?
Well, yes, yeah, it did, because I was on the phone. My mother one day, I said to her, I think there's something wrong with my brother. And she said, I'll ring up and find out. And she made a phone call, and there wasn't anything wrong. And 10 minutes later, the phone rang, and my brother had severed his wrist with a pane of glass.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So...
What was that film that was like that, when those people are floating around in the water and they could... there was Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Not the Matrix, the Something Report.
Yeah. It's, the Minority Report was a little bit
Minority
like that.
Report,
and people could sort of see that what was happening and they could get there before the actual event.
Right, yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Great, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I suppose so. Especially if you know what's 450 at Kempton or something like that. The race horse.
Don't work
He's going to win, Lester Pickett. He's going to win that.
Just before you go, Ainsley, what I've done, basically, is to get the... Barbara Bush was a very clever woman, and she once said, a woman is like a tea bag. You don't know how strong she is till she's in hot water. Nuts and grains are the same. They like heat, OK? So I've toasted the hazelnuts. I'm going to get Kim to give them a really good old rub in there. That's going to take the brown skin off. OK. OK.
So just rub them like that.
Just so we get a cleaner result.
OK. And already, just to show everybody there at home...
You see, there exactly. That's how you do it.
The actual...
We used to get a round of applause for that, mate.
Yeah, you used to. All right. Chef, you've also got some bay leaves infused with pepper and
that's
milk.
for poaching the haddock, and it's entirely appropriate. It's just I took it up before just because I was doing a sweet thing. It wasn't,
this one here's for...
That's the onion that's going to go in the fish pie as well. We've got the sweet potato cooking for the topping of the fish pie, and I'm just about to start making the souffle.
Lovely.
Now.
I'll come back and see how you're going to be doing that shortly. Let's get back down here. Green Pepper Kitchen, Brian Turner. He's now making his little kebabs with the calf's liver and the bacon. You can see them just popping through there like that.
Let me just show you what we've done.
OK, Chef. Yeah, please
nice,
do.
Lovely bacon,
clear some of this for you.
Just roll it up there.
You finished with your vinegar and sugar, Chef?
No, probably not, Chef.
OK.
But thank you for putting it away anyway.
I'll put it
it's
over
like
there
having the
for
wife
you.
here, isn't it, eh?
I know. We only do it so everyone can see what's going on.
Please,
you
Chef.
know that. OK, 11 minutes to go now, guys. 11.
Right, so we put those on to cook. So I'm just going to need the space. So I'm going to put those on to cook now. Might stick them in the oven in a second. I've got potatoes and shallots going here as our pomme lyonnaise. Now, normally I just cook those on the stove. I'm going to stick them in the oven because I'm short of space at the moment.
OK,
So I want to get another potato dish on that our friend over here has got going for us. So put that there. That's lovely. Can you find cinnamon up there for me, please? Let's turn this
Down
over
the bottom
now.
there, Steve. Sorry, the next one down. Here we are, mate. Here we are. Bit of cinnamon. There we are. That's the one.
That's the one. Choose.
OK, mate, no problem.
Right, over here now.
I think he wants a little bit on his apple.
Yeah, all right, I'll do that. If you just do that, and then cut it into a dice, into strips. We're going to make a little apple sauce out of that.
Lovely.
Cinnamon, you're quite right, Chef. We'll just put now the cinnamon on here. Have you put the sugar back?
There, just open your right-hand side.
Right-hand side.
There.
There, lovely, okay,
Halfway now, gentlemen.
Grand, well done, Chef. Thank you very much. OK, so that can go in the oven, and we'll get that cooking as well. So
OK,
a bit more
so you've got
space
a
here
baked brown
now.
sugar and cinnamon baked apple.
Try and make
going
our
in there.
sauce in there. Second, the liver won't take long to cook. But as I say, I'm just trying to find some space here. So that's looking good there now.
OK.
That's on. Right, now what haven't I done? OK, I've got to get the roasty on now. So we'll just put that. And what Steve has very kindly done is grated some potato and some of his wonderful shallots.
Wow.
So we'll just squeeze...
He's keeping you busy, isn't it, eh? Has your missus ever got any predictions right for you then, Steve?
Yeah, she has. Yeah, she did. I mean, I was told when I was quite young, when I was 10 years old, that my father had died.
Yeah.
OK. My mum told me the father had died, and as far as I was concerned, he was dead. She woke up one day and said, "You've got to find your father, he's still alive." I said, "No, don't be so ridiculous, he's not, you know, he's dead, you know."
Yeah, because Mum told you, didn't Mum say something?
Absolutely true, yes, so I just believed that, and she said, no, he's still alive, and anyway, she disappeared onto the computer, the internet, and spent a whole year researching that, and she actually found out that he had been alive, actually, until 1997. And he'd remarried, and I've actually got a brother and a sister I didn't even know I had.
Good Lord above.
And they're alive and well and living in Chile.
How did that make you feel? Were you actually born in Chile then?
Yeah, I was born in Chile. Came to this country when I was 10 years old.
It's not very warm out there, is it?
So, yeah.
What a nice audience.
I've never heard that one before. I've never heard that before.
I know you've heard that 1,000 times, I bet. Yeah.
But,
That's quite incredible, really, isn't
It is
it?
an amazing story, yeah. Yeah, it is.
And if it wasn't for the missus, you'd never have pursued
I would
it?
never have done it, no.
Yeah.
As far as I was concerned, they were dead and gone, you know.
Yeah.
Right, Chef, let's lift this
wow.
up here
I think
now.
that's brilliant. I love stories like that. OK.
Thank you, Bum. Let's put some
find out what's
breadcrumbs on
gonna
the way.
happen here. All
I
right
want to
then,
make,
Chef.
I've nearly forgotten the rissoles, which I mustn't forget, because those would be lovely.
OK, Chef.
So where's that? There's a few
Right.
breadcrumbs there. Got this here. I'm going to put the liver in here.
Uh-huh. And tell everybody, because it's one of those old classics that I think if you're probably 35 or 40, you know what a rissole is, but for
Well,
those
I
people
might be
who don't know-
35 or 40 soon, so I shall look out for that.
You're going backwards, mate.
Yeah, what's a rissole then? Tell us what a rissole
A
is.
rissole in my book was always... Oh, look at that. How did you do that? A rissole was always made with cooked meats, mixed with onion, breadcrumbs and egg. This is raw meats, but it's not a problem. And it was a way of using up leftovers and then just fried them. I used to fry them on Sunday night.
OK.
We used to have this little fried rissole. It was wonderful. But really very tasty.
Do you want the meat in there or the other way
No,
round?
I'm going to get the rank, because otherwise I'll lose it in there, I think.
OK.
But you can put me a frying pan on if you would, Ains.
I certainly will do, Chef.
What a nice guy.
There we are.
Right, thank you. Oh, hey, stop that! People, there might be somebody watching
Oh, there's a big frying pan down there, Brian. Oh, we like it.
Oh, I'm going to put the blade back in, because it's probably a lot better that way.
It works better.
Oh, lovely. What about work? What do you do then, Steve?
I work as... Well, I started off as a prison custody officer, which means I take people to and from prisons to courts and back.
Yeah.
And in the space of 2 years, I worked my way up from that to what I do at the moment, which is...
Put that down, please.
Which is a fleet manager for the prison vans. See all the prison vans you see running around London?
All those big white prison vans, yeah?
Yeah, each and every one of them's one of my babies.
You call them your babies,
Yeah,
do
I gave birth to every one of those ones.
Oh, lovely. What about the... I've got to ask you, because, you know, a lot of people would get a little bit intrigued. What is it like inside? Because you never see inside a prison
Inside
van, do you?
what?
A prison van.
Oh, I'm inside prison.
You know about that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Unconditionally.
Now, a prison van is... well, we can take up to 14 of England's finest in these vans. And
6 minutes to go. Carry on.
every van's got an individual prison cell, if you like. So a 14-cell vehicle has actually got 14 individual prison cells.
And do you
within
get
that.
to chat with the...
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of banter, a lot of interaction between ourselves and the prisoners. And
So you're probably meeting people who have got a kind of a forgot to pay a bill to people who are murderers,
Oh,
quite
absolutely,
honestly.
yeah. I've taken murderers to court. I've taken people who've been cycling without a light.
Yeah.
It's in a joke, right? Joke.
Yeah, I know. Cycling without a light, absolutely.
And it would have been a lot worse if it had been night time.
He's on form today, the boy.
Hey,
He's on form today.
Yes.
Boom, indeed. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. And do they ever freak you out?
Yeah, when I first started, yeah. I mean, I had some horrible stories, and you have to take some people that have got some real problems. But after a few months, you know, you just deal with it, and as simple as that, you know. And they're lovely people. I mean, every one of them's innocent, as you can imagine.
Lovely people.
Yeah, I know. They all tell you they're innocent, aren't they?
They're lovely blokes.
Okay.
I love them all.
What about the windows? Because people, every time the photographers take a picture, they seem to sort of get this flash. Are they specially designed or something?
Yeah, all the photographers outside the Old Bailey, they wait for the vans to come out and they'll go flash, flash, flash through the windows. But the windows are designed so that when they do take a picture, it's just a white, blank photograph. Right. They can't see anything in there.
But the guys can see out?
Yeah, you can see out, obviously. Yeah, you can see out, but you can't see in it. That's the way they're designed.
Fantastic. We'll talk again. Let's have a look at Brian's liver that's cooking there. We've got 2 different types of cabbage. One is a soup, one's braised down and smelling
Can you put those apples in there, please, sir?
Apples, get those apples sorted off. Let's get back over
careful.
and see Rossi, see how he's getting on down here. Ross, what have you got going in there?
I've made doing this sort of by guess and by God thing is not always a great thing in the kitchen. I've slightly made a little bit too little soufflé mix, but they can go in the soufflé.
Great, that's going to get
haddock
those
is
in
now
there.
cooked. That's ready to be flaked.
Oh,
we've got
right,
everything going on
couple of
brilliantly.
soufflés.
OK, we've got the white sauce here. So now, because we've taken the sweet sauce out, we're now going to put some parsley and parsley. Normally, it's parsley and peas and stuff, but we're going to do broccoli instead.
OK, and this is the blackened fish that you were talking about here, isn't it,
it's a
Chef?
Creole thing, and the idea is that you make a crust, and the spices you use don't really matter, but it tends to have oregano in it, or thyme, and you crust the fish with it, no fat at all. Absolutely none, just into a dry pan, and it crusts into it's being quite black. And it sounds a bit odd, but actually it creates its own sort of steaming method. It's a fantastic way of eating.
And you blackened it with all these lovely different spices down here?
I've used those, yeah.
All of these have been ground down, ladies and gentlemen. You can put them in a pestle and mortar or something like that. And here they are. They're all those lovely spices. You've got some nuts here that you've blitzed down. We've got a bit of sugar.
But yeah, the nuts went into the...
3 minutes now, gentlemen. 3 minutes.
Went into the hazelnut soufflé, which is great. And as I said, it's really important you blanch them first because it gives roast them first rather because it gives them a fantastic flavour. Really brings out the intensity, like toasting spices.
Yeah,
Intense.
that's amazing. Well, now I've been finding out lots about you, but what about you meeting your husband over there then, Kim? What was that like? Was it, did you meet down the pub or did you meet on a holiday or something?
What's he been saying?
He hasn't said anything to
What
me
have you been saying about me?
Oh, she's talking to you, Steve. You better answer her because she knows what you're thinking.
Funny feeling you used to that, aren't you, mate?
Oh, lovely. Where did you guys meet then?
I answered an advert that he put in.
Yeah.
The Lonely Hearts.
Oh, that's nice.
Not me.
Yeah. You answered him and...
Yeah, I did.
And it all happened.
Yeah,
and
here we are.
you travelled the world together.
We travelled the
A whole
world.
year. She got him to travel all around the world for an entire year. Steve was worried, wasn't working, came back and he got a job.
That's right.
So it was all planned out, wasn't it? 1.5 minutes to go. Really is wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. Thank you for coming along. Who do you think's going to win today? Tell us. Really? You've got that energy. Oh, there's something going on there. Will she be right, ladies and
I went to
gentlemen?
travel around the world. All I came back with was food poisoning. Well done, that man.
OK, blackened fish is looking good there. Ross has got that
make
going.
it salty now.
All right. Do you want one of these to get that out, Ross? Here we are.
No, that's okay, mate.
OK, you fine with that? Nice and
look
comfortable.
At that.
OK,
Lovely
all those
fresh
herbs and
fish.
spices.
Lovely
Don't forget
fresh
your
fish.
avocado.
I'm doing that now.
OK, 1 minute to go now, guys. Will our
With the
chef
juice
get
of
this
a
food
lime.
out on time? I'll just have to wait and see. OK, Chef Brian Turner's absolutely fine. The rissoles are looking good. We've got the little potato going there in the oven. All sorts of lovely things. But, audience, let me remind you, you are voting for what the chef did with the ingredients, OK? Perhaps you're going to think there might be something fancy there. There's a lot more to it than that. Let's see how they end up with all of this. All right, keep this going now. 30 seconds. Let's get some plates up there, Ross. Let's get some food out. Here we are. There we are. Oh, man. 20 seconds, audience. Any moment now, I'm going to actually ask you to help me count down. Here we go. 10, 9, 8,
1 and 2.
6,
Just make it look pretty on that mango.
3, 2, 1.
OK, everybody just finishing off things, making them look absolutely pretty. But what did they have in their bag? Well, Brian Turner started off with some calf's liver, streaky bacon, a large potato, red cabbage, apple and shallot, whilst Ross Burden had undyed smoked haddock, sweet potato, a small avocado, broccoli, mango and a bag of hazelnuts. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, what a feast our chefs have put on here. And looks particularly exciting to the old palate, doesn't it, eh?
Professional,
you pick up that cutlery and have a bit of a go. Tell us what you think then, Steve.
I got it in the wrong bowl.
OK, that's well, first of all, give us a name, Brian, then we'll talk about this soup.
You got to think about this. We had such a shallot to liver up to, but we made it. And that fits on there better, does that? Because I wanted that to go with that.
OK, then.
That soup is absolutely superb. Absolutely best I've tasted in years.
What a nice man. And the policeman, so must be telling the truth.
Tell us what you did for all of these.
What we've done there, we've got
right?
this cabbage soup. We've got vinegar, white wine, stock in there. We've got bacon, apple, spices in there, and just made a soup. So it's eaten with a spoon and then finish out afterwards. First course over here, we've got liver wrapped in bacon. We've got a bit of a yoghurt dip here. Oh, sorry, we've got a sour cream dip here, and that goes well with this stewed cabbage. You can see the braised cabbage, the difference in colour already, how it's caramelised down, lots of sugar in there, red wine, cloves, big flavours, and we put the spare potato in. That works extremely well. These are lovely little sauté potatoes with our French shallots. I hope those are going well here. And our little rissoles, they've got the shallots in there, they've got liver, bacon in there. And we've got a little yoghurt dip here to go with that, and also go with a little potato roast here, which has once again got the shallots in, so he's going to be a shallot maniac before he's finished. The main course, this liver here, and it folded over, so I've stuffed it with a cream of apple sauce. That goes over there, and to finish off, we've got this baked apple, cinnamon, brown sugar, butter, and then a bit of caramel sauce, butterscotch sauce, round the top. And that's it, I'm afraid.
Yeah, wow. I think you've done very well. You happy with that?
Oh, superb.
Well, you keep eating, mate. You keep enjoying yourself. Let's get over. Come on, Kimmy, come and join me down here, my love. And you have a go at everything. Let's just pop that wine over there. The soup blazing out of the oven. Pick up your cutlery and have a go. Tell us, Ross, what are you going to call this?
Oh, never mind the food. Look at that mango.
Hey, I ain't gone anywhere yet, have I, darling?
This one.
Yeah.
OK, we've got the blackened cod on a salsa of mangoes and avocados and onions and garlic, and it's just cooked through, so it's still pearlescent,
nice?
but it's just perfectly cooked.
Beautiful.
But also it's incredibly healthy. Mango's got full of vitamin C and what have you, and the avocado's full of vitamin E, which is very good for the skin. We made a traditional fish pie with the leftover haddock with the broccoli and a white sauce, and we didn't have that much sweet potatoes, so we sort of did dollops, more like a cobbler than a normal pie. And we made a hazelnut soufflés. Will be fantastic with a mango and lime salad. So
that over there. There you go. In the middle there, Rossi.
There you go.
Oh, my man.
you know you're loving it already. Look
There
at
you
that.
go.
Fantastic.
There we are. All of that. Can you try a little bit of that? Go on in. Oh.
What do you think? Yes. So it's hazelnut flavoured. So it's nice and it's light, but it goes well with the tropical flavours of the mango and mint.
I can't believe you did that. It's wonderful.
Lovely. Well, she's absolutely delighted, and so Steve. But what about our studio audience, ladies and gentlemen? Is it going to be a green pepper day or a red tomato one? Let's find out. So we ask them all to please vote now. And up they go, and a look at this. And guess what? Kim's prediction is right. It's a green pepper! Congratulations to you, my man.
Yeah, super.
There you go. Well done, Brian.
Yeah, brilliant.
Happy?
Yeah.
It was a soup. It's not the liver, he says the soup. £100 spending money there for you.
Superb. Well done.
Thank you very much indeed for coming along. Good luck.
I'd like to say, actually, this isn't coming to me at all. I'd like to donate this to Patched, which is basically an organisation that looks after the families of people who are on substance abuse. And it's the families that really suffer rather than the substance abusers, right? So that's where it's going.
Very
Thank you.
kind of you.
Well done.
Okay, very kind of you. OK, well... You are going away with our lovely hamper, Ready Steady Cook hamper, all sorts of goodies in there. Thanks for coming along today then, Kim. Have you enjoyed it?
Loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you've got a lovely meal cooked by one of our lovely chefs. And good luck with the whole psychic medium thing. I'm sure
Okay.
picking up on the vibe. She looks at me sometimes. I'm thinking, what's she thinking? What's she going to tell me next? Well done, Ross.
Brilliant, thank
Absolutely
you.
wonderful. Great to have you both here. Ladies and gentlemen, say a very big thank you to Steve and Kim Banks. Lovely food on the way.
She's very good.
Courtesy of these ingredients, of course. And inside today, we've got a small bottle of malt whiskey. We've got some rather nice dark chocolate, sultanas, yeah. Prunes, soft, ready to eat prunes, some brioche, and a little tub of custard. Oh, so that.
Have we changed this? It's now half an hour, is it, or an hour? You can feed this lot with that.
So, shall we let Ross go first then?
Yeah,
over to Ross.
Come on, Roscoe.
Do we have any tea in the cupboard? Because prunes to me say tea. Prunes and tea together, I think. People laugh at prunes. I think they're absolutely delicious. And stew with tea, a little bit of brandy.
Yeah.
We've got malt instead. But I think that'd be great. Ideally, I'd make an ice cream out of it. But we've got a custard, so we can probably make a cold custard sort of thing. But
Sure.
prune and whiskey ice cream is delicious. A little bread and butter pudding with the brioche, which is obviously enriched already with the butter and the sultanas.
Delicious.
And a chocolatey sort of something really rich and strong, just to, well, like you, but strong. And it's a bit warm in here, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah.
That sounds delicious, Ross. Very nice. Let's see what Brian's got up his sleeve.
You can hear it from here.
Bread and butter pudding, chocolate stuffed prunes, we could probably do pain perdu as well, with a whiskey custard sauce with sultanas in it. That's probably it as far as I'm concerned, son.
OK, then. He's come up with some lovely dishes too, but it's once again over to our studio audience to decide. Is it going to be a green pepper day or a red tomato one for the Quickie bag? Up to you guys. Would you all please vote now? And up they go. Well, what do you have to say about that then, Brian?
It's fairly clear cut to me.
It's fairly clear cut to you. I suppose if it was a draw, what would happen?
That man over there.
You'd have to do it. Let's get cooking. OK, Ross, your cooking time starts.
Oh.
Now, let's do it.
We've got 10 minutes. So I'll get
OK,
Brian to
10
do
minutes
his
going, yeah.
pain perdu sounded great, and those chocolate stuffed prunes sound marvellous as well. So.
OK, and what are we going to do? You talk about bread and butter pudding?
Yeah, I'll get that on.
OK.
And then we're going to use the prunes and Armagnac, but it's whiskey. I was very lucky, actually. Last year, I went up to the islands, the Hebrides. I had a fantastic time up in...
I'm amazed you can remember it.
No, I didn't do that. No, I was too busy hunting and fishing and shooting. I had a great time. It was brilliant.
Lovely. Now, what about these? What do you want me to do with those? You said about compote, did you?
Yeah, if we make some tea, we've got the boil.
Now,
on the
there's a
boil.
good
There should be
idea.
some tea bags here shortly.
OK, then.
There we go. Great. Okay, got a couple of tea bags.
Yeah.
Strangely, prunes and tea work, and Armagnac or whiskey or whatever, work brilliantly well together. There's something... I don't know what it is about prunes and tea, but they have a great affinity together.
OK, then. A little bit of... all those going to be infused
And they're
together.
going to fluff up. How many do you want, mate?
OK,
is that
then.
enough for you?
Just
You've got some. Okay,
let them
cool, lovely.
boil up then.
Yep.
OK,
Oh,
so...
smell that. That's so
Beautiful.
delicious.
I'll take one or two out. I'm a bit fond of the old prunes.
You like them too?
Oh,
It's
dear.
so delicious.
Keeps you regular, doesn't it, eh? Oh, excuse me.
That was a bit swift, mate.
Oh, no. Oh, see my prunes. OK, right, now we've got the lovely custard here. And do you want me to knock that into a little bit of a little bit more cream, just to lighten it a little bit?
I think so, yeah.
Because it's a bit thick,
It's going to
isn't
be a
it?
bit thick. I'm not used to this product, so...
OK, carry on. What are you...
I'm just melting the left... Oh, my goodness, that chocolate is so good.
It is good, eh?
That is... I'm not a sweet tooth person, but that is... I'm not a sweet person either.
Well, this is not... No, that's true, but this is not that sweet either, is it?
It's not sweet at all. That's just delicious. It's interesting, Angel, I was reading the other day about... you know, we've had book clubs and movie clubs and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, apparently these days, now, people have chocolate clubs.
Yeah.
And, you know, we used to have, you know, the difference between a Merlot or a Cabernet or whatever. And people are now learning the difference between different types of, you know, did that chocolate come from Guatemala or did it come from Colombia or whatever?
Yeah.
Which I think is fantastic. It's taking the whole sort of food thing sort of further. And it's all about provenance, which I think is great. I'm trying to remember, I was in Dominican Republic when I first tasted fresh cocoa. And it's odd, the beans look like rugby balls.
Rugby balls?
Yeah, they're ovoid, and you split them open, they're full of beans, and around the bean is the good stuff. basically.
yeah.
And when you eat it, you sort of suck the good stuff off the seed, and it tastes a little bit like violets. It doesn't taste like chocolate at all. But it's when it gets fermented and what have you later on that things start to, it becomes chocolate. But but apparently you can. I can't. But apparently you can tell the difference between different countries, and as you do with wine. So it's the new big thing.
Oh, that's the new big thing?
Yeah.
That's where it's happening. And where's that, Guatemala, you were saying?
No, that was Dominican Republic. I was working for the Travel Channel. But it's grown... There's a lot comes from Madagascar, like vanilla comes from Madagascar. And mainly South American, but really delicious. I mean, it's fresh cocoa is just delicious. And obviously it's the same thing that you make into cocoa, like drinking chocolate,
Oh, yeah.
And the thing to do is to look for... proper chocolate without too much milk and sugar and additives and
But
stuff.
do they have much dairy in their diet, though? They don't?
No, we do. In fact, when the EU started, they wanted us not to call what we call chocolate. They wanted us to call it dairy product or something like that, because there's actually not enough chocolate in it to make it chocolate.
Well, lots of it is now called chocolate flavoured, isn't it? It isn't really chocolate.
No, it's not real. But what the British public likes is up to the British public, but they don't like real chocolate, whereas that's proper, real, 70% cocoa.
OK, now, guys, I'm putting that in the oven. We haven't got much time here.
Well
I've taken the old brioche bread. Thank you for that, Ross. And I've taken the brioche bread. Notice I've melted a little bit of butter. It is bread and butter pudding, so we're trying to soak all that lovely butter flavour, even though this does have a lot of lovely, rich butter flavour to it. And then I've put a little bit of sugar in there, a few spices, mixed spices for convenience sake, a little bit of cinnamon if you want. And then Ross incorporated the lovely sultanas into some packet custard, a touch of cream and egg yolk. And what we're going to do is just, ideally, we'd like that to stay on the stove and really sort of bubble and boil a little bit before we shove it in the oven, under pressure a little bit, so we shove that in there right away. We've also got this tea-infused prunes going here. They're looking good. And you put a little bit of scotch in there.
Well, you see, the thing is, if you put it in now, you boil off all the alcohol, and I was thinking perhaps at the end it might be quite nice to have just a little bit of bite.
Yeah.
So we're getting the flavour in there, and at the end we'll just put a little bit in, so you still have that...
OK. Brian Turner, let's find out what our chef's doing down there. Tell us, Chef, before I ask
Well, I've got the
quickie question.
prunes stuffed with chocolate in the fridge, in the oven already, sorry, so those coming on nicely. Roasted prunes, and I'm just going to pick some sugar, some eggs, and some double cream. A bit of extra egg yolk in there, and just make some...
Why the extra egg yolk, Chef? Is that for richness?
Yeah, just for colour and richness. I think it looks...
Just kind of showing you one or two really quick ideas. And here's a lady who's obviously wants to come up with some nice ideas for cooking. It's Tricia Fenn from Hastings, and Tricia's asking us today, I'm from the States and many of my recipe books call for light or dark corn syrup. Can you tell me what the equivalent product would be in the UK? Do you want to knock on that? Because I know it's cornstarch traditionally that go to make it up.
Corn syrup.
Corn syrup.
Interestingly enough, the US grows something like 100 kilos of maize, go through 100 kilos of maize a person a year.
Yeah.
And they use it because they use it for coating paper, they use it for corn syrup, they use it for feeding beef and whatever.
Yeah.
Corn syrup is because it's quite interesting, what you can't get off maize is quite interesting, but basically the corn syrup is the sugars that have come out of the maize.
OK.
And they use it for sweetening things. It's used in manufactured products and whatever. It's not cornstarch at all. It's basically fructose.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I'd buy it here, and I certainly don't know what light or dark is.
Well, I don't know the dark. It's kind of...
I've never heard of the...
Yeah.
I mean, light and dark soy. I've never heard of two types of corn syrup's corn syrup.
I've got to say, Tricia, if you haven't, when I used to make it up, because I've got some American recipe books too, and I just take a sugar syrup, that's 1 1/4 cups, if you like, of sugar, 3 minutes to go, gentlemen, and 1/3 cup of water, and you just boil it up. Boil it up and you let it reduce down. Of course, if you boil it for long enough, it's going to caramelise. But if you want it a little bit darker, put a little bit of treacle into it, or sort of unrefined molasses, a little teaspoon of that to get that dark kind of
Do you think that's what the dark is? It's caramelised stuff.
Definitely,
yeah. There must be. I'm sure there's a place you can buy American products over the net. The net's great, so I'm sure Tricia will be able
check
to
out the
find
net,
something like
or check out some of those rather posh stores that would do something like that. But I think the net's a really, really good idea. Ross, do you want a little bit of scotch in here?
Just a tiny. I want it to set though. So once it's done, I'm going to do some scriggles and let it set. That's great.
OK, then here we are, Chef. That's ready to go.
That's the great thing about the world we live in today. The internet, whether it's
not much chocolate in there, Ross. How are we going to get that to set?
I was just. Oh, it's almost scorched. I was just going to do some squiggles.
OK, so we'll do something else with it. OK, I'll put a little bit of sugar in there and maybe a little bit of tea-infused juice. How about some
Well,
of that little juice?
as long as it's set, it's OK. And
OK.
I was going to say that the great thing about the net is that there are so many things you can buy through the net. It's fantastic. You can find anything you like.
Uh-huh.
And then
And is that where you go on there? You like shopping on it,
I do a lot of my shopping on the net, yeah. Well,
Yeah, OK.
I can come back from work and do it late at night and have it delivered, you see, so
All
it's
right
great.
then, my man.
It's only because you've been
how's the
banned from the
Pampadoo going,
supermarket.
Chef? How's this looking? All right.
Yeah, great. Little nice. We've got some cocktail sticks somewhere.
Cocktail
If you
sticks.
can
I'll
find
have a
some,
look
yeah.
under here
Because
for
just
you.
treat them like little sweet
Okay,
canapes. I've got-
1.5 minutes to go. Not down there. And what do you stuff them with, Brian? Did you put the chocolate inside?
Just split the chocolate up, yeah. It's lovely, actually. And it looks quite lovely and gooey, which makes it even better.
OK. Are you sure you're going to be all right with that,
No,
Chef?
I think this has actually sort of started to split. I was going to do a doodah, you know.
OK, a little bit of a doodah with a chill thing. OK, perhaps it was the scotch that went in there.
Sorry, mate.
I've got one too
Should I
many
put that
here.
up on the wall? That would make a nice thing. That's in Chinese to say, Ainsley, you putting up my chocolate. That's quite nice up there, isn't it?
I wouldn't say plug it.
Oh, lovely.
You know what I mean? I was going to do a little squiggly bit.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm sorry about that, Chef.
These smell
We've got a lovely little bit of chocolate there. so-
wonderful. We'll put some chocolate. Well, what I'll do is I'll put cream on these and I'll put chocolate on top.
OK.
Because
you've
you
got a
know the
little bit
audience
of chocolate.
loves the chocolate.
I know, everybody loves a little bit of chocolate. Let's get this out here. 30 seconds to go. Let's get a little bit more here, Ross. I'm not
Yeah, when the aliens take over the Earth, or whatever, I think we could almost probably have
going to try and turn that out.
have people sort of, you know...
20 seconds to go.
Currency will become chocolate, I think.
OK, let's try and turn this out, shall we? 10, 9, 8, 7. You've got a large plate. 6, 5, 4.
Plate there. It'll do, it'll do. It'll do.
Go, Tricky!
Oh, that's hot. Oh, I say, that's very hot. A little bit of that. Oh, that's hot. Right on there. Look at that. Fantastic. Straight out of the oven.
OK, nice and hot. Did that burn your
That was a
hand?
bit hot, yes.
I know, I thought so. A little bit there, a little bit more custard on the top. What are you going to call this then, Ross?
We took a chunk of time to do it, but what a sweet result.
Yeah.
Loving your work.
All right. Tell us what we did here, Rossi.
OK, but the prunes, as I said, they have a natural affinity to tea and to booze, basically. So we stewed them in the tea and a little bit of booze at the end so we didn't lose too much of the alcohol. And then we made the bread and butter pudding, which you made.
Yeah, absolutely. Bread and butter pudding. You saw me put them in the pan, melted butter, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of mixed spice in there. And it could be anything. Could be a bit of cinnamon or something like that. Totally left up to you guys. Lay your bread in there so it soaks up all that lovely butter. Then I combine the cream, the egg yolk, the egg, I should say, beaten together with a bit of custard sauce and pour that over the top with all the lovely sultanas. Come and have a bit of a chat here with this. Go on.
Mr T, what did you do?
Well, this pan pie I do, it's just double cream, sugar, eggs with egg yolks dipped and pan-fried, a little bit of butter. And over here, chocolate slab just stuck into the prunes. Ross would have been nice with a bit of whiskey in the pan, just slightly braise them, but nevertheless.
Give them a minute.
Hey-ho.
OK, man. Time for eating now, Brian. That's all we've got time for today, ladies and gentlemen. Join us soon on Ready, Steady, Cook for more cooking ideas. See you soon. Bye-bye.